Hey, if you have ever used Facebook at any point in your life, or have just spoken to that weird elderly family member that you only keep around for the Christmas and birthday checks, then you are most likely familiar with an extremely lazy, weak, and tired argument. So let's talk about that and why your uncle is a racist. So tell me if you've heard something to this effect. We shouldn't take any more immigrants as long as there's one homeless veteran. Or, we need to take care of our own homeless veterans before we take in one immigrant. Or some other such nonsense. Now, before I attack the argument head on and make an economic and moral case against this sentiment, I instead want to use this as an opportunity to explore the underlying source of statements like these. That source would be xenophobia. Xenophobia, a dislike or prejudice directed towards people from other countries. Now you might be saying, no, this isn't racist or prejudiced. I just want to help the citizens of this country before we help immigrants. Here's the thing, though. Statistically speaking, the people of this country either are immigrants or are the children of immigrants. Seriously, if you aren't part of the 1.7% of the population made up of indigenous people, then you are here because of immigrants. Well, aside from my ancestors, they were brought here en masse against their will in bondage. What are you gonna do? But like it or not, this country is made up of immigrants, and there is nothing more American than blaming domestic problems on immigrants. It is as American as apple pie, which fits because apples aren't native to the Americas. So I'm going to do this rapid fire so then I can get back to the main argument, but I think some historical context would be useful. In 1844, there was a massive anti-Irish and anti-Catholic riot in Philadelphia. In the 1880s and 1890s, Italian immigrants were lynched, including one day in 1891, where 11 Sicilian immigrants were dragged from a jail by a mob and hanged, and the press approved of this action. The first Immigration Act ever was passed by Congress in 1875, and it was specifically targeted towards Asian laborers and was followed up by the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. So I'll reiterate that the first federal immigration laws were literally written because they didn't want Chinese people coming to America. In the early 1900s, due to World War I, my own state of Ohio became extremely suspicious of German immigrants or people with German heritage, many of whom were residing here before the war started. The governor of Ohio literally created an Americanization committee to teach people English, censor books by German authors, and change the names of any streets with previously German names. From 1942 to 1945, the United States incarcerated Japanese Americans and immigrants in isolated camps due to domestic fears of Japanese people being hidden traitors. These fears were unfounded, and the Japanese people held in these camps returned home afterwards to find their homes ransacked and their businesses destroyed. And I think I've made my point. You can pick any date in America's history, up to and including the present day, and you will see people in power telling you to fear immigrants. Immigrants from all corners of the world have been scapegoated in this country. Whenever the economy is bad, blame immigrants. America gets attacked, blame immigrants. We need education reforms. I don't know, blame immigrants. So when I see someone saying that we should shut out all immigrants so that we can finally help the homeless veterans, it just rubs me the wrong way. It feels like more of that same scapegoating instead of addressing the real problem. So let's address the real problem. The real problem is that America has all of the necessary resources and then some to continue to allow in immigrants and take care of our veterans. Honestly, take care of all homeless people. I've talked about this before, but quite literally, the best thing that you can do to help a homeless person is to provide them a home without conditions or means testing. Without a home, we won't be able to adequately address issues like addiction or PTSD and mental illness. And America is very capable of providing that. Our own Department of Housing and Urban Development estimates that it would take $20 billion to end homelessness in the United States. And that's for all homeless. That's homeless veterans, homeless children, homeless immigrants, everyone. I remind you that Jeff Bezos alone is worth almost 10 times that amount. I'll also remind you that the United States will spend in excess of $700 billion this year for the Department of Defense. More money for war machines, more money so that we can send more of our young warriors to go to foreign shores and come back broken, bleeding, and alienated. If they come back breathing, that is. You're telling me that $20 billion can't be shaved off to take every rough sleeper permanently off the streets? We have the means to provide food and shelter to every inhabitant of this country, but we don't. We just don't do it. The people who sit in seats of power wish for our current system to continue. It benefits them that there are people who are homeless and people who are sleeping on the streets, and it benefits them that we pit poor people against one another instead of looking up at the real foe. The system and the people running it are to blame. The CEOs, the corporations, the capitalists, the lobbyists, the super PACs, the Congress, the presidents, the judges, and the generals. It doesn't really sound like immigrants are the ones you should be mad at. Fight the real enemy. Thanks for watching.